So even 1,000 years ago, China was very important to Cambodia. And also in the Baiwan, there's sculptures of Chinese businessmen in Siem 1,000 years ago. So China has always been very important to Cambodia, and China will continue to be very important to Cambodia. So it's my honor to introduce to you our speaker today, Dr. Antonio Graceffo, who is coming to us from Shanghai, where he's doing a PhD in economics. He has finished an MBA. He has many qualifications, including an MBA from Shanghai University. So, Dr. Graceffo, thank you very much for...
Thank you so much, Mr. Casey. Thank you so much. So my name is Antonio Graceffo, and I teach at Shanghai University. I teach in a commerce program there, and then I'm also doing a second PhD in economics now at Shanghai University. So my life is all one university. I think I will never finish. Today we're going to be talking about Chinese economic activity with Cambodia. Much of the presentation, though, is going to be general information about the Chinese economy because it's very important for Cambodia, as Casey has told you. Okay, there we go. This is my contact information. I'll put it up at the end also if anybody's interested. I write a series of economic reports. They're on LinkedIn, and you get them off my LinkedIn, and I'll show this again at the end. There we go. Okay, so the first question I want to ask, and now your teacher, Casey, told me that you're all brilliant, intelligent, young people, the smartest people in the country. So I want to ask you, or in the world, was it the world? The world, the smartest people in the world. So the question I want to ask, why? Why do we need to study the Chinese economy? Please, don't be shy. Yes, go ahead. What do you think?
I think we ought to learn and explore and study the Chinese economy because to us, Chinese as us was like a fish in the water. So we need to know that as we are fish, we need to know which flow the water is go. We should not go swim opposite of the water current. We should go with the flow, and we will able to get as much as opportunity as possible in order to maximize the benefit and better opportunity.
Okay, excellent answer. Very good. Okay, so I like that imagery. You said we don't want to swim against the flow, and the new flow is China. And this can provide opportunities for Khmer people and other people as well. All right. China is the world's second largest economy. I hope you knew that. Now, how do we measure economy? What are the three letters we use to measure the size of an economy? GDP. Very good. Which country has the number one?
United States.
Oh, the answer is here. Right. United States number one, China number two. Two countries that are also very interesting to study about are countries 3 and 4. 3 and 4 are Japan and Germany. Why I think those countries are very interesting because their population is much smaller. America has a huge population. China has a huge population. These two smaller countries are very interesting also for you to study. And also because Japan has a lot of economic activity with Cambodia. But today we're going to talk about China because that is my specialty. Yeah, I'm having trouble with this machine. There we go. Okay, why is the China economy important to Cambodia? We've talked about that. Okay, China accounts for 23.97% of foreign direct investment, FDI, in Cambodia, and then followed by Korea, 10.68, and then Malaysia, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Thailand. This is 2016 data, but it was from a paper that I wrote a few months ago. So the numbers may not be exactly right, and I guess you guys may have better or more up-to-date numbers than what I'm using, but the idea is the relative amount of trade with China is tremendous. Chinese companies have invested in 543 projects with a total amount of US 10.1 billion from 1994 to 2015. So obviously there's a lot of Chinese investment in Cambodia. China is an important economic partner. China is one of Cambodia's largest import partners and a large source of Cambodian foreign direct investment, FDI. If you could guess which sectors are the most important that Chinese are investing in? Industry. Construction. Garments. One more. Okay, real estate. Real estate, also very important. So, Chinese economy. Why do I start with 1949 when I'm talking about Chinese economy? Does anybody know? I heard an answer. Who was that? Okay, the end of World War II is 1945. That's right. And then after that is the Chinese Civil War, which ends in 1949. And 1949 is the beginning of
The Chinese Republic.
right, the People's Republic of China, okay, PRC. Okay, and of course the leader was Mao, and you know that. And here in Cambodia and Phnom Penh, we have a
Mao Zedong.
Mao Zedong Boulevard, right? So he runs the country pretty much from 1949 to 1976. And this was People's Republic of China. What kind of economy did the PRC have? What do we call that style of economy?
Capitalism.
Capitalism?
Yeah.
No way. What?
Planned economy.
Planned economy. And then I heard somebody say communism. Anybody know any more words? Planned economy, communism,
Socialism.
socialism. Okay. Okay, we are all business students, right? We're studying business. We are not studying politics. If you're studying political science, these four words will have very unique meanings. For us, for business people, they're the same. So we have planned economy, communism, socialism, Marxism, Leninism. For us, for economic purposes, they're all the same. What do we call the economy of Cambodia or the United States? What system? Capitalism, that's one word. Anyone have a different word? Very good. Free market, good. Okay, so Cambodia and the U.S. have a market economy. We usually say free market economy or free market economy, also called a market-driven economy. All right, and again, if you're studying politics, you might argue with me, it's not a real free market because there are government controls and things. For the purposes of economics, we just call it, it could be a market economy or free market economy, it's fine, or capitalism. All right, planned economy. So China has a planned economy, a socialist economy. We have little or no private ownership of property, very few private companies. The government owns all factors of productions. State-owned enterprises, SOEs, dominate. So what I'm describing right now is the original Chinese economy from 1949, and this is what it looked like. You couldn't start a company. You couldn't just decide to start selling products or open a business. You generally didn't have a lot of say over what your job was, and everyone earned almost the same amount. Under the planned economy, China was one of the poorest countries in the world. In 1974, the per capita GDP was $158 a year. Okay, so you think about that, $158 a year. That means their monthly salary was how much?
Not even $10.
Yeah, just over $10. Right, so we can go to cha time, maybe twice. Okay. In a market economy, like we have in US or Cambodia, right? So most companies are private. Citizens are free to choose where they want to work or what business they wish to do. The market determines the price of goods, the price of raw material, allocation of natural resources, and availability of credit. Now, when we say the market determines the price of goods, okay, what am I holding? No, I'm holding a good. Okay, I'm holding a good. How much does this cost generally in Cambodia?
60 cents.
60 cents? 61, 62, 60, okay, 60 cents, so. Okay, if I have this water and one person offers me 60 cents and one person offers me 50 cents, who will I sell to?
60 cents.
60 cents. This is called market-driven economy. Now, what if I charge 80 cents for this water? What will happen?
No one will buy it.
No one will buy it. Why? They can buy from someone else for 60 cents. But am I allowed to charge 80 cents?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so that's why we call it a free market economy, and also why we call it market-driven. The market determines the price of this water. But under a communist system, under a planned economy, who would determine the price of this water? The government. Now, in a market economy, free economy, I charge 50 cents for this water because why? Or 60 cents? 60 cents. Why? I have to pay for the bottle. I have to pay for label, brand name. I have to pay to clean the water, to put the water in the bottle, to seal it, and I have to pay to send it to the market. What do we call that in accounting? Cost, right? So I have cost, and then what do I want to get in addition to my cost? Profit. That's what determines the price of this water in a market economy. But in a planned economy, the government would determine the price, and it would be irrespective of cost. Allocation of natural resources. I have a factory, and a government company owns a factory. We both need to get steel or coal. Which company would get the steel or coal? My company or the government company? Government company. Under a planned economy, government company would get natural resources first. And this is really important, availability of credit. When we're in business, we need to borrow money. In a planned economy, the state-owned company will get the first access to borrowing from the bank. And if the bank loans all their money to the state-owned company, sometimes they won't have money to loan to the private company. All right, 1954 to 1979 in China, SOE, what is SOE? State-owned enterprise. What does that mean? The company is owned by the state, the government, right? Government. And collectives accounted for nearly 100% of the industrial sector. Almost 100% of the industrial sector was owned by the government. There were almost no privately owned enterprises at all. Privately owned enterprise we call POE. Administered by successive levels of government. If I go into a company in America or New Zealand or Singapore, who do you think manages the company? The manager or you said the director? Do I expect to see a government person managing the company? No. So in a free market economy, generally the people running the company are private people, business people, they're not government. But in the SOE, when you go to the company, the manager might be a general or some sort of government official. Government provided financing to these companies, controlling the price of both inputs and outputs. The government would determine how much the steel costs. The government would tell the factory how much finished product to produce, and the government would tell the company how much to charge for the product. Salaries were generally very low, and managers would only earn maybe a little bit more than a worker. You had employment for life. As soon as you had a job, you basically couldn't be fired. You had a job for the rest of your life. Your children would go to school for free. You would probably eat for free at the company. You might sleep for free at the company. So there were some benefits to this communist system. SOE output was sold to the government at prices set by the government. So in a planned economy, essentially there's only one customer. Who's the customer? Government. So I have a factory. I buy steel from the government. Government tells me how much finished product to make, and then who do I sell my finished product to? The government. And do I determine the price? Government determines the price. All right, economic reform. This man, Deng Xiaoping. 1978, Deng Xiaoping comes to power, and he begins reforming the economy of China. Prior to Deng, under the socialist system, capitalists and business owners were considered enemies of the state. And there's this quote. In 1978, capitalists in China were official class enemies. But in 2001, they were welcomed into the Chinese Communist Party. In 2001, they allowed businessmen to join the Communist Party. Under Deng Xiaoping, 1979, SOE reform began. We call this Fangguan Rangli policy. SOEs were given a greater autonomy and a share of the profits. This meant the SOEs would produce products, they would sell the products, but they were allowed to keep some profit. Very good. They were allowed to keep some profit. What do you think happens when people are allowed to keep some of the profit?
Work hard.
People work harder. How about the manager? Think the manager, if he can keep some of the profit, do you think he looks more closely at the costs?
Yes.
Controlling the costs? So under the SOE system where it was all government, you might have workers that he's a friend of the manager, so the manager tells him, okay, you stay home, and I'll pay you a salary every month. But now, the manager gets to keep some of that profit. Do you think he wants his friend to stay home?
No.
No, maybe you'd fire him, right? Maybe you reduce the number of workers. All right, yes, we managers and workers began thinking more in terms of profits. All right, 1983 to 1987, a taxation system replaced the earlier profit-sharing program. So until 1983, there were no real taxes in China. So what the government did, the government said, look, you're a factory, you produce a product, you sell it, you can keep some of the profit, and you have to give the government X amount of profit. In 1983, they changed the system. They said, okay, now we're going to have a tax system, right? Very much like America, like Cambodia, like more market-driven economies. Increasing autonomy and incentives to managers. In 1992, the government began selling off smaller SOEs. So the government began looking at these SOEs. Now they want to make a profit. And maybe they had 5 people doing one job. Okay, you have one job, but you have 5 people. That means what would be too high?
The cost.
Cost. Which cost?
The employment.
Right, labor cost. The labor cost is too high, so they begin reducing the number of laborers. And the government looked at the smaller SOEs, some of the small ones, and they said, you know what, we're going to sell these. What do we call it when the government sells a business to the population? Anyone? It goes from being public to being private. Very good, private, and it's called privatization. So they're being privatizing or selling smaller SOEs. Well, something I think very interesting about China, because I live in Shanghai today, and Shanghai is a very rich city, it's a business city, everybody's making profit. It's interesting to me that only in 1993 is the first time they made a company law. The first time that they started to have laws governing private companies and private property. Markets began to determine prices. Finances must be raised through banks and creditors. Dividends are paid to shareholders. Interest and principal are paid to creditors and taxed to the government. So if I own a company, I own a factory, and I sell my products, the money that I get, is that my profit? I sell 100 products, I get $100. Is that my profit? No. What must I do now? I have to pay what? I have to pay costs. I have to pay the bank for my loans. Who else do I have to pay?
Dividend.
Right, I have to pay dividends to whom? Shareholders. So I'm not really the owner, right? It's a corporation. I own, or I'm managing it. Maybe I'm the majority shareholder, but there's other shareholders. I have to give money to them. I have to give money to the bank, and I have to give money to the government. What do we call that money? Tax, right? So, And in China at that time, they begin to need a lot of accountants. So you can all get a job. So very interesting also, in this time, 1990s, they are privatizing the SOEs, they're allowing private companies to exist. And they're even passing laws that say the government should not interfere with business. However, in order for a company to operate, they still needed to have government people on the board of directors. So even though officially the person is called a manager or a director, he may also be a government official. So government officials are still sitting on company boards. Another thing is that the government controls a large percentage of voting stock. So the company can privatize, but the government owns many shares of stock. In fact, companies, state-owned companies in China are even listed on the New York Stock Exchange. But the government may still be a shareholder and may even be a majority shareholder. So the government still has voting rights in the companies. 1993 to 2003, end of lifetime employment. We call this in China the iron rice bowl. Okay, just like in Cambodia, what does rice mean?
Food.
All food, right? Food, rice, you can live. If you have rice, you can live. The iron rice bowl, it will never break. But now it's ending in China. The government has a program called Grasping the Big, Letting Go of the Small. This means the government is selling the small SOEs and holding on to the big SOEs. Before 2003, it was hard for POEs to enter the market. So in 1993, they start to allow private enterprises to enter the market. But there's a problem. The banks are still owned by government. Natural resource companies are still owned by government. So even you're allowed to make a private company, but it's difficult to get raw materials, it's difficult to get financing, and the biggest customer is still the government. And will they go with a private company or government company? Government company. So this is still a problem for privately owned companies. SOEs, on the other hand, could obtain essentially non-forming loans. So SOEs could borrow money from the state-owned bank, and if they couldn't pay it back, it wasn't a problem. So the banks were carrying tremendous amounts of what we call non-performing debt, meaning companies that borrowed money but they couldn't afford to pay it back. In 1997, 90% of bank loans were granted to SOEs. 90% of the total loans that were given to businesses were given to state-owned enterprises. And this is not that long ago. I know for many of you, you're very young. This seems very recent for you. But for an old man like me, this seems like very, very recent. Okay, 1997. SOEs were heavily subsidized, an extremely uneven playing field. All right, socialism with Chinese characteristics. The new system in China is called socialism with Chinese characteristics. What other country in ASEAN has a similar economy? Vietnam. Vietnam has a similar, I think they call theirs market socialism. Very similar. This is called the Reform Era, 1978 to the present. We now have in China private property, privately owned enterprises, market-driven prices, more freedom for citizens to choose their job or business, stock market. Does Cambodia have a stock market?
Yes.
Yes, you also have a stock market. Convertible currency. We'll talk about that in a minute. From 2003 to present, Western-style capital management system. So in China, they instituted a program called corporatization. Corporatization. And it didn't matter if the company was private or government, they corporatized it, which meant you would have a board of directors, you would have a director, you would have a manager, and it would behave the way a Western corporation would behave. Market-based loan approvals. So in other words, before a state-owned enterprise could go to the bank and say, hey, we want to borrow money, the bank said, no problem, you're a government-owned company. Today, when they go to borrow money, not always, but sometimes, the bank bank will look at the business plan of the company and determine if it's likely that they will pay back the loan or not pay back the loan. So that we call this market-based loan approval. Non-performing loans are decreasing in China. They're still very high. Entry costs have dropped. Entry costs. Okay, you're all accountants. You've had macro and microeconomics. Are you studying that now? What does it mean if I say the entry cost in an industry? For example, if I want to open a Jinju Naicha, I want to sell Jinju Naicha on the street. I want to sell tea. I want to make a tea stand and sell on the street in Cambodia. What is some cost that I would have to pay to do that? Have to register with the government and maybe, I guess, pay a fee for a license? And what else would I have to do? You have to buy the stand, right? This food stand. I have to buy the food. I have to pay a worker to stand there. The total cost for setting up a tea shop in Cambodia, what's the cheapest you think? If you wanted to sell a product on the street, could you start a business with $100?
Yes.
Some yes, some no. How about 200? Okay, maybe $100, $200. Now, let's say that you want to start a company that makes airplanes. Can I do that with $100? 1,000?
No.
100,000?
No.
No, maybe not. The airplanes cost millions of dollars, right? So we call those entry costs, the cost that it costs to open a business, all right? Entry costs begin to drop in China because raw materials become available to the companies, loans become available to the companies. Favorable loans for SOEs still exist, but the government subsidies had decreased dramatically. Today, SOEs are still a large and important factor in the Chinese economy. The remaining SOEs are generally very large. So what happened was a lot of people outside China, they think China is now all capitalism and business and this and that. Well, that is true, but it's also true that state-owned companies are still very, very big. And we'll talk about how that affects Cambodia in just a minute. Okay, 2013, mixed ownership economy. SOEs partially privatized, but the government retains ownership control. So they would privatize some SOEs, even they would go public on the stock exchange, but the government would retain 51% of the stock. What do we call that? The person who owns 51% of the stock, what do we call that? Majority shareholder, right? The majority shareholder would be the government. And every share is allowed to vote. So the majority shareholder has the most votes. Today, still unbalanced allocation of resources between SOEs and POEs. So SOEs still have an easier time getting natural resources. SOEs could cut staff by a third. SOEs could cut staff by a third with no impact on output. What does that mean? The SOEs have too many. Too many what? Right, they have too many workers. There's too many workers in the SOE, and I think somebody said subsidies. You're right. If you have too many workers, your company's not making a profit, so the government has to give you a subsidy. Very good. Fears of increasing unemployment may be one of the factors. So, again, if you're in Cambodia and you're looking out at China, you probably think China is very rich and very good economy, and it is. Those things are true, but it's not perfect. And they have increasing unemployment, especially among college-educated young people. So one of the reasons why the SOEs have so many workers is to reduce unemployment. Okay, Chinese currency, what is it called? Yuan. But Chinese currency actually has three official names. Yuan and RMB. RMB, what does RMB stand for? Renminbi. Very good. Which literally means citizens' money. Okay. And then we have another name that they use for exchange purposes, which is CNY, China New Yuan. All right. So these are used for the currencies. The whether or not the RMB is a convertible currency is an argument, but let's first ask, what is a convertible currency? What does it mean if I say a currency is convertible? What does that mean? You can exchange it, right? You can fly anywhere in the world, you can get off a plane in Germany, go to the bank with Chinese money, and they will give you euros. Can I do that with Cambodian riel?
Yes.
I can fly to Germany with Cambodian riel and they'll give me euros? No. How about Lao Kip? Is it Kip? Yeah, Lao. What if I go there with Lao money? Will they exchange it? No. So we call these currencies non-convertible. Now, how does Cambodia deal with not having a convertible currency? Right, you also use US dollars. Okay, so we have convertible currencies. And what is the most convertible currency in the world? US dollars. Okay, number two? Maybe euro. Okay, which one used to be the most, but now it's dropping very much? English speaking, yes, very good. British pound, right? Okay, and then we also have Japanese yuan. All right, so the yen, yuan, a few years ago, you couldn't do much with the yuan outside of China. Today you can, okay? So it's moving towards being convertible currency. The RMB, look at that, there's something missing here. All right, the International Monetary Fund in 2015 agreed to allow the RMB as a special drawing rights currency, which we call SDR. Does anybody know? There's 5 currencies in the SDR. What are they? US dollar, Euro, Japan yen, Great Britain pound, and Chinese yuan. Yes, and the answers are here. I ask easy questions. You just read the answer. Okay, very good. Oh, is it here? No? Yeah. Like that, so easy. Okay. Did I go back? Okay, so China has this socialism with Chinese characteristics, but it is not a 100% free market economy. Although China's economy is more market-oriented, the government still controls much of the allocation of resources, availability of credit, conversion of the RMB. Now, the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, allowed the Chinese yuan to be used as a special drawing rights currency. But many economists around the world said that maybe it's not a fair decision because the yuan is not 100% free flowing. In other words, the exchange rate is not 100% driven by the market. I've actually done a very long paper on how the exchange rate is determined, and it's very complex, but it does involve government intervention. Now let me ask you, what is the exchange rate between the real and the US dollar? Okay, around 4,000, right? It has been almost the same for my whole involvement in Cambodia, 12 years or more. Casey, you've been here longer. Have you ever seen, was it ever less than that or more than that?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the 12 years I've been involved with Cambodia, it's been like 4,000, 4,100, something like this. Doesn't fluctuate that much. All right, but the RMB has fluctuated tremendously against the dollar. So the government does control the fluctuation. When it's too much, the government will go on the world markets, buy up yuan to raise the price, or they will liquidate U.S. Treasury notes. But that's the source of another lecture that we'll do someday. So today in China, the 150,000 SOEs, there's 150,000 SOEs in China, and they account for 17% of employment, urban employment, 22% of industrial income, 38% of Chinese industrial assets. So the SOEs are still very popular, and we're getting to why that is important for China and for Cambodia. Since the late 1990s, Chinese companies have been encouraged to go abroad and invest in minerals, new technology, energy, natural resources, and food. How is this related to Cambodia? Chinese companies are asked to go abroad and invest, especially in natural resources. How is that related to Cambodia?
They will seek source of natural resource
Right, Cambodia is a source of natural resources. So that's one of the reasons why China trades with Cambodia. And if we look, SOEs are leading or were leading this outward investment. How does that relate to the currency? Why do we even worry the Chinese currency is convertible, non-convertible? Because when they go to a foreign country, they have to be able to buy things to invest. So the currency has to be somewhat convertible for them to be able to do that. Very interestingly, food is one of the things that China has to buy abroad. China is a net food importer. Okay, who can guess? What does that mean, a net food importer? Right, they import a lot of food. They can't grow enough food to feed themselves. How about the United States? The United States, everybody is very fat. But the United States is a net food exporter, right? China is a net food importer. So they have to invest in food abroad. It's one of the many things they invest in. Outbound investment by SOEs. By 2009, 108 SOEs had invested in 5,901 foreign firms. Nearly 38% of the total SOE profits were from outbound investment. Look at this. Nearly 38% of the total profits earned by China's state-owned companies was from outbound investment, investment in foreign countries, including Cambodia, Vietnam, ASEAN. SOEs were motivated to expand overseas to become larger and less of a target. So the government started selling off the smaller SOEs. So if you worked at a smaller SOE, suddenly when they corporatized the SOEs, if you were the manager, suddenly you're able to take some of the profits from the SOE, you're making a lot of money, you're very happy, but if your SOE is small, there's a chance the government's going to sell it and you're going to lose your great job. So what do? You need to make your company get bigger. One of the fastest and easiest ways to get bigger was to borrow money from the state-owned bank and go invest in a foreign country and start buying businesses in a foreign country. So a lot of China's outbound investment, including in Cambodia, was done by smaller SOEs that were trying to make themselves bigger so that they wouldn't be sold. SOEs invested in minerals. Okay, is minerals something they can get from Cambodia? Yes. Energy?
Yes.
Yes. Raw materials?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Going out policy, 2007 to the present. In the last few years, Chinese GDP growth has slowed down. Unemployment among young college graduates is growing, as is China's debt. Approximately 7 million young people graduate university every year in China. 7 million. If you think about that, that's almost half the population of Cambodia. Every year. Now, when you graduate university, do you want to go work on the farm? Do you want to go work in a factory?
No.
No. So you want to work in, well, all of you want to work in accounting. Okay, what sector is that called? We have 3 primary, secondary, and tertiary sector of the economy. What is primary? Primary is agriculture. Secondary? Industrial. And third? Service. Very good. Which one does accounting belong to? Service. So where do you think most college graduates want to work? Which sector? Service. Very good. So same thing in China, the same thing in the US, everywhere in the world. As countries become richer, more and more young people can go to college and they graduate, go to university and graduate. They all want to work in the service sector. So the service sector has to continue to grow to absorb these kids. In China, this is not happening fast enough. The new focus of going out also includes job creation and obtaining new markets for Chinese products. For example, in Cambodia, when you go to the market, do you see Chinese products? Yes. Okay, now I know you're young, but compared to 4 years ago or 5 years ago, is it more or less? More, right? Always increasing more. So one of the goals now of China is to sell their products in other countries. Also, when you see Chinese projects in Cambodia, you will often see a lot of Chinese people working at those projects. And this is part of this job creation. All right, first generation of China outbound investment was led by SOEs. They were investing mostly in raw materials and energy because China, you know, they have so many factories, they're making so many products. They need a lot of raw materials and you need a lot of energy to drive the factories. And China's population is very big. They need a lot of energy, you know, for the houses and heating and electricity and things like that. So the first step was SOEs went abroad and they especially went to less developed countries. So they went to Cambodia, they went to Vietnam, they went to South America, Central America, and they were investing in these types of products. Often in exchange for infrastructure. So, example, China would go, a big SOE would go to a country and say, listen, we need to buy oil from you, or we need to buy gas from you. And in exchange, we're going to build infrastructure for you. What is infrastructure? Roads? What else? Very good. Bridges, trains, subways. Okay, so do we have any of this type of construction in Cambodia? Yes, definitely. And another thing China does, they build government buildings. It's actually one of their strategies in Cambodia. Yes, right, government buildings, sports stadiums, and this is all over the world. They'll go into the country, they'll say, listen, we need this and this from you, but we're going to build your sports stadium, we're going to build your government building, we're going to build your subway or your train. SOEs had the advantage. So when SOEs went to invest abroad, they were able to borrow money from the government at very good rates, or maybe they didn't even have to pay it back. Today you've got private companies coming here and they don't have quite the advantage the SOEs have. All right, latest generation of Chinese outbound investment is seeing increasing numbers of small, privately owned companies driven by profit. So in Cambodia, have you seen Chinese restaurants?
Yes.
Hotels?
Yes.
Haircutter? Haircutter, maybe no, I don't know. In other countries I've been to, there's Chinese haircutters now. How about Chinese market in the market? And not local Chinese, not from Cambodia, but coming from China. So we're beginning to see very small companies. And some of these people, actually in China, they were poor. And then they took all their money that they had, they came here, they started a small business. So we're seeing more and more small companies and small investment going into different companies, countries, including Cambodia. A big advantage that Chinese companies have in Cambodia, Cambodia has a lot of Chinese people, right? Chinese-speaking people, Chinese people. All right. So it creates an opportunity for Chinese companies to come here and work with local Chinese, and it increases opportunities for local people in Cambodia to be the person who translates, facilitates. If you're the accountant and you can speak Chinese, maybe you can get a job with that company. The overseas Chinese POEs, what is a POE? Privately owned enterprise, including small retail businesses, haircutters, hotels, and restaurants. Okay, Cambodia and China. Why do you think China wants to invest in Cambodia? Okay, so I would love to hear from somebody over here, please. One reason, why? Resources, okay, good. They get resources for Cambodia. Now I want to hear from someone over here. Tell me one reason China wants to invest in Cambodia. No reason. How about here? Ladies, you're sitting in the front. The knowledge was close to you. What do you think? Why would China want to invest in Cambodia? What's that? What? Opportunity? Okay, very good. All right. Cambodian economic fundamentals are improving. And again, you guys will be more knowledgeable about this than I am. But from my research, Cambodian economy has grown tremendously every year except 2009. Why was 2009 a bad year for growth? global financial crisis, right? So this affected a lot of countries, 2008, 2009. Cambodia uses the US dollar. This is very, very important. If I am a Chinese businessman, first of all, if I'm a Chinese businessman, I might be doing business in China and I'm not paying my taxes. That's possible. I'm not paying my taxes and I have a bunch of cash at my house. Right, that's possible. Even if I'm a legitimate businessman, I'm doing business and I have all this RMB. Can I get on a plane with $50,000 in cash, fly to New York and buy dollars? No, cannot. Cannot. Too many legal restrictions. But I can come to Cambodia and I can buy a condominium, an apartment, a house. And the value of that house is kept in US dollars. And if the house goes up in value, it increases in value in US dollars. So for a lot of Chinese people, one reason they want to invest in Cambodia is to get access to US dollars, or to invest in US dollars, or to store their wealth in US dollars. China average per capita GDP is $6,800 per year. Cambodia is just over 1,000. What does that have to do with investment? Why would the GDP, per capita GDP, why is that important for investment? Save money on what? Labor costs, very good. You see, you had an answer, good answer. Good. Okay, we can save money on labor costs. So how much does a factory worker in Cambodia get?
160.
Okay, 160? Okay, so $160 a month for a factory worker in a Chinese factory here. Can you guess what a factory worker earns in Shanghai?
200.
More. About a minimum, in Shanghai, around 3,500 RMB, which is just less than $600. Okay, so it's 4 times the cost for the worker there and the worker here. So per capita GDP is another reason why China invests here. Easy and cheap to move capital out of China and into Cambodia. So again, I could come to Cambodia with a bunch of cash, I could buy an apartment, or I could buy a business, and it's a way of storing my money in dollars. Sino-Khmer network. Sino means what? Chinese, right? Chinese Khmer. So there's Chinese Khmer network here that they can work through, they can do business with. Mandarin is now the second most popular foreign language in Cambodia. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, have you seen that with your own eyes? Like, what's the most popular foreign language? English. What's number 2? Chinese. Is there a number 3?
Yes.
What?
Japanese.
Japanese, okay. All right. So, according to research, and I'm not 100% sure that this one is exactly accurate, but the spirit is there. 56 schools are currently teaching Chinese to 30,000 students in Cambodia. I have a lot of Sino-Khmer friends, and many of them, they graduate to Chinese school here. They get scholarships to go to China for education. Also, while I'm here, I want to tell everyone in this room, China is giving a lot of scholarships. And you might want to think about doing your master's degree in China. It's very easy to get a scholarship, and they divide them by country, and there's so few Khmer students in China, so I'd like to see all of you come to China for your master's degree. After you finish with Casey, of course. Okay. So China may be interested in Cambodia investment, secure natural resources, expand export markets, garner political support, enhance regional security, balance the U.S. influence. So obviously, today we have 2 major powers. Who are they? I mean in the world. 2 major powers in the world, China and the United States, right? So they're always kind of competing, trying to make friends with this country and that country. And that's part of China's investment strategy. Spread of Chinese culture and language through the Chinese schools. Okay, I didn't put a lot of citations on my slides, but all of the data and numbers that I've used in these slides are available in 3 papers that I've written. I've shared the papers with your teachers, so with Casey, so if, I'm sorry, Mr. Barnett. So I've shared the papers with him. If anyone's interested in reading the full academic papers, you're more than welcome to. And maybe Mr. Barnett will make those available to you. They have all the citations for all the data that I've given you today. All right, thank you very much for listening to my report.